Today is 3 days before the full moon. That's when I like to plant my plants. We're going to use worm castings to go in the plug tray. But let me tell you what I'm going to plant today. And I love to plant 3 days before the full moon. I think it makes a difference. I think the little plants respond better. So this entire year I'm going to be planting 3 days before the full moon. But I never know what I'm planting because that's the art of it. This is not a science. Gardening is an art. So I'm going to plant giant noble spinach, snowball cauliflower, snow crown cauliflower, early Jersey Wakefield cabbage, Destiny broccoli, Bell Star broccoli, pak choi, bunching onions, cilantro, mixed lettuce greens, and champion radishes. Ta-da! So the first thing to do is to get some potting soil. Okay, so here we go. My potting soil that I've chosen to use is the worm castings that I have harvested from my worm bin. There's a little worm right there. It'll be totally fine if there's an earthworm inside of these little trays. It's going to be just fine. Here's a big worm right there. I'll just put him in the bottom of an empty cell. He'll be okay. If they don't like it in here, they can crawl out. They'll get back to the ground and then go down and enjoy their life. So I'm just gonna go like this. I'm firming the soil just very gently with my fingers, but I'm not pressing hard. If there's a worm in there, it won't hurt him. So I didn't push this real hard. I didn't pack it in. Sometimes that's a good idea with certain kinds of potting soils. But with these worm castings, I'm not going to do that. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Now I made some tags for what I'm planting here. Okay, so this will work out. So now I'll just find the one that I want. Here's the spinach. This is giant noble spinach. And so I'm going to plant the entire tray to right here where the noble spinach sign is. So I want to have only one seed per cell of this spinach because the spinach gets really big. And I have learned that if you crowd spinach plants, like if I have 5 or 6 spinach plants per tray, when I've transplanted them out, they don't grow as well. They like to be alone. So I'm putting 1 seed per cell here. Okay, that's it. That one's done. Now the next one, we have early Jersey cabbage. And that one is over in that tray. Pak choi. Okay. Pak choi is a real nice little oriental green. And I'm going to let a couple of seeds fall in each one of these. Even if I get as many as 4 seeds per cell, that's going to be okay. But I'm trying to get about 2 to 3 seeds per cell. And I'm doing a really bad job. Most of these are getting 5 or 6 seeds. And I'm not going to change that because they're too little to try to pick out. Pak choi is planted and done. So here is cauliflower. This is the snowball. So right here, and I only want to plant 5 of these. So I'm putting 1 cauliflower in 5 cells. There we go. So that was it. And here's cauliflower. This is snow crown. So that tag is right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. So that's 10 cauliflowers that'll be growing that month. So within the month, when these are ready to harvest, there'll be about 10 cauliflowers to eat, and that's about right for the people we're feeding. Here's Belstar broccoli. And we're doing 5 of those. So we're just planting what we're going to eat. So Belstar. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more seed. Okay, there we go. There's the Belstar. And I think I'm all planted. Okay, that tray is totally done. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And then I'm just going to very lightly cover with my soil. Now none of these seeds need light to germinate, so it's okay if we go ahead and cover them good. Alright, so that one is done. And now I'm just going to move this tray right here, like that. I'm going to take my soil, bring my soil off. That wasn't quite full. So now I'm just going to press these down, make a little indent for the seeds to go down in, but I'm not compacting it at all. I don't want it to be compacted. There we go. Now my tags. This one, we're going to do 10 of those and 5 of those. Okay. And here was the cabbage. Cabbages are done. And what are you? This is the onions. I want to do quite a bunch of onions, and it will last for more than a month's harvest. So I'm going to wait a minute and see how this works out. Here's Destiny broccoli, and we only need 5 of these broccolis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seeds are in. So that's done. And here is cilantro. And I didn't have a tag for cilantro or for radishes or for the lettuce mix because I know what those are. But I did have a tag for the Tokyo and the tatsoi. For some reason, my bag of tatsoi seed didn't make it out here. So I'm going to throw that back in there. So green onions, I'm going to put that one right there. And I'm probably going to do several rows. And when I plant green onions, I want a bunch of onions. I want about 8 onions in a bunch. So I put about 8 seeds in each little plug, and then I plant the entire plug when I transplant, and then they grow in that bunch, and then we can harvest the entire bunch and just pull that whole bunch out, and then they're ready to go. So that is, that's about 35. Bunches. And here is mixed lettuce. And I know what this is when it comes up, so I don't need to worry about how it, I don't need a tag. I also have radishes and cilantro. So, and I only have 4 more rows. So I'm going to do 2 rows of radishes and 2 rows of cilantro. And the cilantro, I like to put 4 or 5 seeds per little tray here. And then I keep those together in the plug. I don't take the plug apart. And then I plant those as a little bunch out in the garden. Okay, there we go. That's done. Now my champion radishes, and I have 2 rows of radishes. And the radishes, I want them in a bunch too, but I want about 4 or 5. So I'm putting 4 or 5 seeds in each one. If I get 20 seeds in one, it's not going to work out good. So I've got to be very careful how I'm planting. But if you have about 5 seeds in a bunch, they will produce a nice little bunch of radishes right out there in the garden. And then when I plant them about 4 to 6 inches apart. And then you'll have little clumps of radishes ready to go. So there's that. I need to pick up these. There's my seed packets. And the seed packets are all good and ready to go. And none of these species here need light to germinate. So I can go ahead and cover these all with dirt. If you're going to plant celery, you need to have celery exposed to the light or the seeds don't germinate well. And there's some certain flower varieties that are that way also. That's it. I'm done. I'm finished. Now let's look in the propagation house. Okay, so I'm going to rearrange a few things. So I need room for 2 trays in here. I have this tray here. It's ready to transplant. And half of it's gone. So I can just double this one up right there. That'll be fine like that for a few days until I get it transplanted. This one is 1 month old. So this was transplanted 3 days before the last full moon. And I have lettuce, spinach, cilantro, green onions, and some kind of a brassica. I don't know what those are because I didn't put a tag on them. But it's okay because I don't need to know. If I do need to know, I put a tag in it. That one will go there. And this one goes right here. And they're going on the heating pad because seeds need to be warm in order to grow. So they're on the heating pad, and now I'm going to water them. I just water back and forth, like that. And we can't let these dry out now that I've started watering them. So if I wait a week before I come out here, they'll be dead. Okay, there's that. I have some little lids here. So I can put this lid, and I like to put it right on the surface. You can put it on like that, but if you do that, there's airspace in there. So sometimes I like it to be flat right on there, and sometimes up like that. Either way is okay and good. We'll just do it like that for today, and that'll be good. Okay, so that's our planting 3 days before the full moon, and I plant every single month this kind of food.